broadcasting from the animal planet. Reptilians 101. Here we are, choking out the life force of human beings on planet Earth as the new age rises. Sounds pretty good, right? Sounds like we're totally in tune with the current messaging that is across the internet. The aliens are coming. Fear not. Full disclosure is happening now. Sobriety is an option. What makes this any different than any other time in human history? Well, we have a whole different path. Transhumanism is a thing. We are converging biology with a mechanistic change where the computer, the machine, will take over for humanity and make all our lives easier. Well, I'm here to ring the bell, knock you out with a part of human history that is undeniable. Everything within Taoism is creation, completion, and rebirth. We refer to this as the Great Bellows. This time in history is no different. The very hubris of mankind is that it's all about me. That ego, as worn out as this is, as the new version of personality, another iteration of self, that we would be so self-consumed that the whole planet is a jewel in the crown of the cosmos, as if there's something holding us back, that everything is converging to this point because human beings are far more evolved than a piece of rock, a black hole, a zip in a unit of energy that we refer to as a universe, an entanglement. Ha ha. Joke's on you. This may sound like a joke, but quite frankly, what's the difference between the New Age, New Earth version of self and perhaps an evangelistic version of the next coming of Jesus? As I would say, my dear Watson, elementary. This is where experiential moments make this a shit or get off the pot moment. So I propose a contemplation, a moment of pause as you constantly decipher through the gauge of social injustice, as you continue to be fed another narrative, generational narrative, that makes you more disconnected from yourself. So, anyone that stands on planet Earth right now that has some spiritual vibe, a different version of self, theology, biology, ideology, a belief system, which is generally how you perceive reality, that your subjectivity is creating as such. What makes the difference between someone peddling the galactic star brothers as they're coming to Earth, that disclosure is so close that you can taste it? I ponder the question of, if you're so sure, just as every evangelist before you, every, as you would put it, religious nut, because the pooh-hoo of the cyclical timeline of human creativity is atheism, spirituality, religion. These are 3 points that we feather through in human history and have for as long as there's evidence of humans, banging 2 stones together to create a spark. We're always going to go through these cycles until otherwise noted. The difference is that right now it's a very, very viable and financially beneficial business model to claim that someone's going to come and save us, to claim that the aliens are just around the corner. Did you ever think that perhaps maybe if 3-letter organizations can filter the information or contact itself, that maybe there was no truth to it whatsoever? Because the truth be known, convergence will require a dissolution, a solvency, a dilution of all foundational fabric of self. This is what we refer to as Wu Ji, absolute holy stream. And from that, the effects of that is heaven on earth. Furthermore, we require no participation of personality. That through the embodiment process, the alchemical process, we condition it into a state where the body itself is the barometer, the tuning fork of this reality, not requiring an introspective analytical stance or point of action. So here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The mad hattery of the reptilians are coming. They are amongst us. They are controlling us. Sounds, you say tomato, I say tomato. Well, Jesus is coming. Well, personally, I have experienced the essence of Jesus, the state of awareness. I've experienced deep, meaningful conversations with Jesus from an ethereal standpoint. I have yet, apart from an embodiment where convergence from this tuning fork, you acquire miracles, healings, absolute. I've seen it for decades, thousands of times over, where things that are distorted and distracted return back to their holy state. This is what I teach people. This is what Jade and I teach people. And this is a substantive stance that you take, and I suggest, I propose that experiential moments are really the true value. So here we have something that can be reflected on through human history. People have believed and disbelieved. But the truth is your truth, and that's the only truth you need to be concerned with. So if we reflect on the current state of mind for people in 2026, the catalyst is devaluing the human experience. Humanism is a virus. That productivity is an old way. That you must embrace this new convergence, this transhumanism, where everything comes together and your life will become so simple because you surrender your rights to this very moment as you meld the body, meld the spirit, meld the mind, and you are unaware that your value has been downgraded through this process. So
I think it's making humans weaker in so many aspects. Especially social media turns into the internet in in general turns into an echo chamber for you. So it's like if you believe that water is bad for you, you can find somewhere on the internet that'll say that. If you believe that water is good for you, you can find somewhere on the internet that'll say that. If you have a belief that the sun will poison you forever, you can find that somewhere on the internet. You're constantly getting back these ideas, whether you believe them, whether you don't believe them, whether you're unsure, you can get back that feedback constantly saying, no, this is good. No, this is bad. No, this is where you need to be. And yet all of it is just someone's perspective that's being put back to you and thrown back at you. So there is this echo chamber of, oh, well, I feel this way. Everyone feels this way. Look, the internet shows me that everybody thinks like I do. Everyone has that opinion of this, that, or something else. And really, it's not the case at all. But because now we have access to so many more resources and connection points, you can find these little things and then in your mind go, oh no, everyone thinks like that. I'm not the only one. I'm not this, I'm not that. And then that narrative is being fed to you constantly and downgrading your potential as a human. It's interesting. There was a study shown that they did with hockey players, and they realized that the best hockey players, most successful hockey players, were only born in 3 months. They were born in January, February, and March. And they were like, why is that? Throughout 75 years of hockey, all of these Hall of Famers and MVPs and award-winning hockey players were only born in these 3 months. They're like, I don't understand. So they started doing the research on it and realizing that where they do hockey cutoffs was they start in January. So the child born in January versus a child born in November had 8 months or 9 months more experience of playing hockey than, say, the 12-year-old born in November, whereas the 12-year-old already turned 12 in January. And what happened was in hockey, they would get categorized based off of their competitiveness. So all the competitive people or kids playing from January to March would all advance together. And the more competitive they were, it was like this person would push this person to get better. This person would push this person to get better. And because all that competition proved, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. And if he can do this, I can do this. Then they constantly rose the bar, raised it. And so I feel like currently we've lowered the bar so low to be like, it's okay to just be average. It's okay to be below average. It's okay to not apply yourself or try, or, oh my goodness, you're feeling a little bit of resistance. Oh, just give up. It's fine. It's, everyone does that, because you can find this echo chamber of, well, why do I even need to apply myself? I'm, AI is going to do it. A computer is going to do it. Something else is going to do it. The aliens are going to save us. And there is not this want or even need to show yourself potential, show any type of potential, but yet to accept and be okay with this mediocrity of I'm just existing and that should be good enough. And like I said, social media constantly pushes that on us, that it's like, you don't have to, no one really has to compete anymore for anything. It's like, hey, I want something, Amazon, buy it. Hey, I want food, grocery store, buy it. Hey, I want to travel somewhere, jump in my car, go there. There isn't this push or this resistance to want to achieve something. And I feel like a lot in the spiritual space as well, we get a lot of that, I did one meditation, it didn't work. Why not? And you're kind of like, I don't know, because you only did one meditation. It's like when you want something and you want it to stick and you want to embody it, there isn't a finish or a start to it. And yet we look at our evolution and our growth as humans and as this experience as, okay, well, it should fit into my 9-to-5 schedule and I have 5 minutes to do it every day. And why isn't it working for me? It must be me. It must not work on me.
Yeah, I mean, this extreme is the dualistic response to yin and yang in this reality. It's the very fabric of the symbiotic dance that we are constantly in, coming from one stream, but deceptively assuming or perceiving as separate. This is the struggle that people have. So when finding yourself, meeting yourself right now, that requires a complete deconstruction. So selfishness to the selflessness requires a sacrifice. What returns back to the wood chipper, application is not a switch controller. Application is not 10 shorts in the last 30 seconds. Application is not a virtual buddy that's name is conjured from an AI program. All of these things relinquish your power, and that embodiment component is part of your rite of passage. It's not a requirement. It's a rite of passage. And so when people are less and less inclined to participate, they're more voyeuristic in their experience because it's very easy to do so, which then downgrades their potential as their application of self becomes less and less optional, because the old expression, if you don't use it, you lose it, is very much a real thing. So when you continue to attempt through another form, not embodying the true sense of self, which is really what Taoist alchemy is surging that resonance, acquiring the convergence of past, present, and future, revealing through your attention, intention, Shenggong, your ability to reconstruct and return everything back to whole. Heaven on earth is the very potency that we're speaking of. So what is the difference between peddling a belief system, theology, ideology, indoctrination, all of these things, nihilism, dualism, centric, non-centric, atheism, Catholicism, Judaism, Christianity? These are all isms, sacred geometry. These are all different iterations of self. Can you meet that without forming a very limited view of yourself? It's like waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror and you're not happy with what you see. That is this morning. That is today. what will be in 5 minutes is a different version. What will be in 5 hours is a completely different version. And when you wake up tomorrow, there will be another version of self. So this is a constant reconstruction, creation, completion, rebirth. This is the very fabric of everything. And you can be sure that this cultivational practice as a Taoist is implemented in all other walks of life or different secular factions of self through religion, belief system. It's all the same. Atheism, spirituality, religion, these are cycles that are very familiar to human timelines. Now, it's time to meet that moment. So, sextinction is a real thing. My generation embraced a whole different version of what was the expression of self through embodiment, through connection, through intimacy, that was a revolution for mankind, leading us down a path. Now, you can go back to a timeline more animalistic, more tribal, where you've got, complete decadence with Caesar in the court of the Roman Empire, where they're having mass orgies and complete consumption of obsession of self through this, endless fornication. Or you can take yourself to a new age version where human beings are now avoiding human contact because that requires an exchange. Mentally, emotionally, physically, you're receiving an exchange. So physically, that exchange creates life. Now, if you don't have to test yourself by acquiring a relationship that's mental, emotional, physical, then spirituality will never, ever be an ignition. And so today, past generations, present and future generations, we're being led to avoid the obvious, which is an engagement with self, an acceptance of self, an opportunity to meet thyself right now. And so never before in history has there been a lack of reproduction. Because the new age is, I don't need anyone. I am an individual. You can't fool me. Separating the experiencer even more from themselves. This current generation feels as though it's too much of a pressure to reproduce. It's too much of a pressure to dedicate themselves to a relationship. It's too much of a pressure to be diverse and adverse to a situation that requires you to turn up. It doesn't happen. So here we have this meek, scared individual hiding in the shadows of their own experience. And so all of a sudden things are forming in their enchanted little minds. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I don't want to have children. Maybe I'm more experienced and my desire to have a relationship with someone of the same sex is actually a thing. Mm-hmm. But understand that this messaging is not coming from your mind, just as our teacher, the Jade Emperor, would tell you. All thoughts of your mind are not yours. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you are consuming the peripheral engagement of your personality to an exogenous stressor that doesn't come from within you. So sextinction, extinction, it's a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And that means that you're becoming more and more inclined for every generation moving forward in this humanistic timeline, that a need for the body, a need from this humanist experience is unnecessary. Remove yourself. Everything is heightened. The body is so infantile. It's so yesterday's pink. It's not tomorrow's orange. And with that, we're having a mass exodus of new babies, new relationships, new marriages, new forming nuclear families, because the suggestibility of the experiencer right now is that you should give up. That if someone asks you what your requirement is, they are now insulting you, whether it's something that is internal, which in all situations it is. There's no opportunity for you to even contemplate, which is the very infrastructure of what we teach. Your Sherlock to your Watson. Desirability, divinity resides in all of us. Divinity concludes itself with inquiry, contemplation, and that curiosity should really end with copulation. And furthermore, into a belief system where you can now merge with another version of yourself and recreate. This is it. It's a natural selection for you to reform yourself, to create this incredible gift. There's a replication of self, the true instinct of a man and a woman, a yin and yang, masculine, feminine, is to recreate. It's in your gene expression. And so when someone starts to give you the idea that you haven't spent enough time, and that someone generally is what you're consuming on the periphery, you need to be more mature. You need to be more frugally inclined, because you can't afford to have a child. You can't afford to have a relationship. You can't afford to be independent, whether it's governmental, whether it's a societal norm through family integration. You've surrendered your power to someone or something else. And this is the ongoing narrative. So when people apply themselves, for example, any of my students, transformation is imminent. Put the helmet on, because we are going full blast into your own version of self that will blossom and complete and create and recomplete and create circles after circles after circles, fully formed versions of self. And so from a physiological perspective, nothing more transformative from the outside, while you are reforming and regulating the inside of who you really are, is to transform. If I had a penny for how many times I help people realign themselves, like a blurred line as you put the template back in place, and people will go, oh my goodness, what's wrong with you? You've lost like 50 pounds of body fat, and all of a sudden, are you sick? Do you have cancer? No, you've realigned yourself. You have empowered yourself. You have taken back the reins, and you are now the master keeper creator of your biology, which is just a small fraction, a small secular state, because they're all different factions of self through this experience. So body, mind, and spirit are really one. But you have to validate that experientially from each of these components converging as past, present, and future, creation, completion, rebirth, the trilogy, the trinity, all of this stuff is shown to you now. The charge you get, and amen, hallelujah. Mm-hmm. And I still won't back down when I say, you want to talk about channeling? I'll bring in my boy, Joel Osteen, the Christian, the Christ, the Christos of Christian consciousness that is an absolute OG, whether you want to call him a snake oil salesman or just a straight up grifter. When you understand what it takes to resonate and what is necessary, how much you must sacrifice to surrender to the selflessness, you'll realize when you arrive yourself to this iteration, holy crap, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah. I think that's really, excuse me, an interesting thing because for anyone out there who isn't sure whether someone is channeling or not, watch their video, put it on mute, don't listen to what it is they're actually saying, and see if you can feel something. Because that's the real test. It's not we're so caught up in the intellect, and we're so caught up in this inverted mind that we think is the ultimate power source, that we allow that to dictate and control everything. When ultimately it comes down to, like you said, I mean, I just heard it probably 1,000 times as you were speaking, the experiential moment. And so if you ever are like, hey, is this person really channeling or not? Try it. Put it on mute. And if you can feel something through removing your mind of what they're actually saying and just open your heart, you'll know whether it's real or not. Joel Osteen's one of those people where it's like, I can watch him, I can put him on mute, and I can feel it. I don't need to hear whatever the rhetoric he's saying or speaking about. And I think that's such a key thing that especially comes down to so many people is us as a society, as a collectiveness, have been so bombarded with information overload from, the advancement of media. You're no longer just reading one newspaper that gets thrown to your doorstep every Sunday. You're reading 500 articles that come in on your phone, your laptop, your computer, your driving down the highway, a billboard, a giant sign, in your Uber car, he's got the TV playing, the gas stations have the TV playing. You're constantly just being bombarded with this information that all day long, you're stuck in your head. You're stuck in your mind of, is this real? Is this right? Is this, this must be it. This must be that. I mean, you don't even notice when you zone out. Everything is still coming in. And we've really gone from an experiential gnosis into a completely inverted state of the mind being the ultimate, and overthinking, overanalyzing, overprocessing, and then wondering why we struggle so much to find self, and we struggle to find embodiment, and we struggle to find these connections with other people because we've been trained and programmed that everything happens here, instead of letting yourself really fall into that and almost removing this from the equation and going, okay, I'm not asking myself, okay, what do I think about this? I'm asking myself, how does this make me feel? And a true feeling, not a programmed feeling of like, my parents never let us eat candy at home, and so therefore I hate candy. And you're like, okay, let's do the classic one. I'm afraid of guns. And you go, okay. Have you ever shot a gun before? No. Oh my God, no. Guns kill people. I would never touch a gun. I would never go near a gun. They're scary. They're dangerous. And it's like, okay, let's go back. Have you ever shot a gun? Have you ever experienced the, loading a gun, holding a gun, shooting a gun, target practice, any of it? Oh, no, no, no. Guns kill people. And it's like, there you go. Classic programming. You have not even given yourself the chance to experience and be a firsthand experience to your own life before you've made an ultimatum that exactly the reason why you don't like something. And 9 times out of 10, I'll meet someone who does that and I'll ask them, have you ever shot a gun? And we'll go and take them and we'll go shooting. And it's like, wow, I didn't realize that I was just more afraid because this is what I thought. This is what I've been taught. This is what my perception of it was. But my actual experience, it's kind of fun. I kind of like it. It's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. And we're constantly out there making these ultimate decisions on things without ever experiencing them being so inverted in the mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of like programming.
Right.
So, you make a decision within a fraction of a second. So people carve out their reality and they repeat the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Mm-hmm. So unless you break the mold, the iteration is different. That's the selfishness. The selflessness requires the sacrifice. You will continue to be subpar and status quo sub-average because when you come up to the plate, when you come up to the edge, your fear generated by your perception, which is a subjective experience that has created that, will always limit your ability to jump off, your ability to experience that new level of self, that higher resonance. That's why Taoist alchemy is so powerful, because through the practices, if you're thinking you're not knowing, if you're knowing, you are feeling, and that feeling becomes more dominant than the finite mind. As we remember and remind people, to be absolute, to be holy, requires no participation of self. That means that when you meet a moment, and most people will fold, they have this, what we call scared rabbit syndrome. Mm-hmm. Anytime they have to apply themselves, they justify it through some negatively charged experience, saying, well, that's going to take too long. Oh my goodness, what are the scenarios that when I have to do this, how I have to do this, with whom I have to do this is going to take so much time and effort. Now, you've heard the expression over and over again, my grandmother used to remind me, the amount of time that it took you to justify the amount of effort that you have to put in to acquire this task or develop this skill or push past this event, you could have already completed it and shifted your consciousness, raised the bar of what you're capable of in a fraction of a second. So again, we go back to desirability, divinity. We gravitate to what makes us feel good temporarily. It's an impermanent transitory effect. Mm-hmm. This is the very fractionated fraction of self that is what's going on in society today. So when you apply yourself, and it's not a touch screen, it's not a joystick, it's not some digital version of self, a keyboard, there has to be engagement. Rules of engagement are clear. Equal to or greater than is where you're going to meet your maker. Lower than will continue to bring you down the spiraling effect of subpar versions, older versions of self, i.e., are you the arbiter of change or a harborer of the same behavior. Look around yourself until you become holy and absolute by your ability, your suggestibility, your convergence abilities, which is an absolute stream, the Wu Ji. From that, the effects of Wu Ji, the primordial mother actualizing heaven on earth, we form what we refer to as Wu Wei, effortless action, effortless effort. But if you're feeding into your system, oh my goodness, this is going to be a hard one today. Oh, whatever I have to apply myself to is so difficult that I've built a mountain so high that I'll never be able to climb it, which is 99% of people apply this as a way of life. They're always justifying the not. As Yoda would say, there is no try, only do. And with that, you meet yourself. And so something as tribal and as animalistic as natural selection is where you take the body with the mind absent, i.e. the personality, the ego, a subsection, a fractionation of self. You remove that and you apply the body, which requires a resistance. So what's a better way to do that than through exercise? You do that through Qigong, Nigong. Nigong is a byproduct of Weidan, which is the external, and Nidan, the internal. The convergence of those 2 points is where we acquire the ultimate power of Nigong. And that comes from the stressors, the exogenous personality stresses of what is blatantly obvious as a conscious collective of reality, which is subjective. And then you bring this into the cauldron, the cooking pot, which is where that ultimate stream of Nidan is converging external to internal, exoteric, esoteric. You are able to take these 2 palpable polarizing effects of yin and yang and bring them as one and show yourself that really all of this comes straight back from the same stream of holiness. And so when someone wants to meet their maker, what better way to do that than to apply themselves to a physical resistance to see what you are really made of? This is why things that I really love that are stress, adaptation, expansion, another part of the trilogy, is my all-time favorite is to train legs, because legs is the most avoided exercise for anyone achieving some type of physicality, because that requires them to go equal to or greater than whatever their version of yesterday was. And so once you apply that, more explosive compound exercises like squats and deadlifts show you, clean and jerks, they show you exactly what you're made of. And by using those mechanics, you're able to converge that energy. That's how you level up. So natural selection is that by applying yourself to exercise by large compound exercises, you immediately are the alchemist that converges those energies, instantly purging all channels that would be reflective of that: liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys. So there goes the anger, there goes the sadness, there goes the fear, there goes the anxiety. This is a natural order. You don't have to process it. You don't have to negotiate it. The body will disperse and dilute all obstruction, all stagnation through these processes, which is so refreshing, because if you're struggling with your mind, mental, emotional state, by applying yourself through the alchemy that is a natural order through the body, you purge it. You atone yourself without a thought process.
Right.
And then that's where people get super angry. They go and work out. And it's like, oh, I needed that. I feel so much better. I have no idea why. Because it's a natural order. You must apply yourself to that moment. Whether you're digging holes in the Roman Empire, moving fucking stones for the pyramids and the Egyptians, or you're a part of a crew that's digging roads in your local county, it all comes back to the same place. And then furthermore, for someone whose novel factor is, let me go to the gym just to exercise for fun, you're instinctually developing a skill. You're developing the skill. Now, greater cultivation is where the alchemy comes in, where this ability to manifest magic, healing, that is instantaneous. That requires a little bit more concise convergence and concentration of self. Yet, that's why Taoist alchemy is the go-to for anyone that wants to be self-realized. They go to these pillars, these foundational points, and they keep invertedly investing in more of themselves through this power. And the power becomes so palpable, so tangible. That's what the alchemy is about. You take something that is a mind prison, and you use the ingredients of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You converge that into this node point through alchemical process. We refer to this as the dantians. Some others would refer to them as chakras, energy points. This is where you concentrate this and you make it and turn it into a material, a pliable, tangible material that can be molded, melded, and reformed into this perfection or heaven on earth from the alchemist. This is Shen Gong. Attention, intention evokes immortality, heaven on earth. You are able to project your spirit and operate in a material distorted state, returning everything to whole. These are the fundamental magical aspects and implications that are given to you as an alchemist, not as a requirement, but a rite of passage. You are walking this to recognize you are returning home. You are whole. You are one. There is no disputing this. Now, when we go back to the mental, emotional, and physical state of the aliens are coming, this is now part of history, another reflection of, you can talk about it, be about it, but show me, right? I am a believer in anything that transmutes into a tangible subject, object, nojectivity where you are the experiencer.
Right.
Right now, for many years, I've seen plenty of these entities form spirits into this world through the emanation of people's bodies and harbors of these entities within their fields. This has been going on for me for quite some time. Now, the next level, and that goes for Jesus Christ, God, Buddha, Tao, Lao Tzu, supreme purity, all these things are very tangible. Once you become a spirit walker, which we are, you are the communicator between the spirit realm and the realm of man. You are a knowledge to wisdom teacher of this ancient sacredivity, and it's coming out through your material state. Once this is here, profound things take place. So the next level up is where people keep going, well, it's not happening this year. It was supposed to happen this year, but it'll happen next year. Not next year, it'll be the next year. It'll like next year. It's all too familiar historically. Just as Jesus will reform himself and return back to humanity and save all those fallen souls that were once believers. This is a very indoctrinative propaganda that has been going on for quite some time. Now, if you're attuning yourself to holiness, you'll experience Jesus's entities and emanation at will. Yet the convergence from me has translated into holiness, where I see physical, mental, emotional, spiritual change. Where we're talking about, I see meld, body flesh meld back to whole. Objects meld, distort, go back to whole. All these things are very tangible. This is where we jump off into telekinetic, psychic abilities, clairvoyance, mediumship, channeling. These are all things that we teach. Furthermore, this next, novel state where most people are playing with, their proverbial pud here, where they get distracted. They're on the journey to the Wizard of Oz, but they've turned off with the Tin Man and the Lion Man, the Lion Heart, and they're playing around with, more smaller versions. Look at me. I'm telekinetic. I can spin a wheel. I can magnetize a coin. I can magnetize metal. These are all just convergence. This is what we call Shen Gong. Everyone has that ability. You must be able to ignite it. That ignition requires an alchemical process. Many people sell the version of it's now, just do it. It's all just a dismantling of belief. It's a disbelief that turns into a belief. 100%. Show me. 100%. Show me. It's that simple. And so more and more of this stuff becomes the snake oil salesman, because so many of these people are, resting on their laurels, their loyalties, their limitness, not limitless, limitness, by fixating on one point. But you got to start somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. So with that, you have this new age version. Oh, fuck spirituality, fuck religion, fuck objectivity. I'm just now. I would have to agree with you. They're all founded in a belief system. Yet, if you're incapable of experiencing that, then it is a deluded state of psychosis.
Still in the mind.
Right. And so it doesn't leave the mind to the body. It's separate, which is a fundamental thing. So being convinced that aliens are coming, I've experienced their energy and their spirit for years. Seeing them would be very similar to the peddling and wares of Jesus is coming to earth. Okay.
Show me.
I've experienced Jesus also. But if you want to sit back and think that a 3-letter organization controls whether you're able to merge with these energies or their contact is determinative by that, the hubris is insane. It's on a catastrophic level of absolute train wreck. Because guess what? Every one of these people that are peddling, the reptilians are here, the New Age is here, all of this stuff is hinging all of their notoriety and their celebrity on it's happening next month, it's happening next year, it's happening the year after. I've been hearing this over and over again. So to materialize heaven on earth, you use alchemy, we've been using it for thousands of years, to show you the evidence of healing, of transformative mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. This is as fucking evidence-based as you're going to get. Now, as for these other flowery, blossoming effects of self, that is yet to be determined. So there's a level of psychosis, and I hate to use that because psychology is such a manipulative mind fuck. But quite frankly, you keep these people, they keep moving the goalpost. And this has been going on for a long time. People get more excited. Oh, the government's going to release more information. And then when it's a blip, which it will be, I'm very clear on this. You heard this here first. It'll be a blip. Oh my goodness! I saw a saucer, a saucer flying in the air, or there's a beam of energy. Great. Let's materialize that into an actual living being that's in captivity here on planet Earth, and we're communicating with. But other than that, this is another story of Y2K,
Yeah.
end of days. This all comes from different belief systems, and they're all valid. But even when they hit their timeline and nothing happens, poo-hoo, so sad, you're bad.
On to the next one.
The belief system doesn't dissipate, right? That's the thing. It's like if you're a Jehovah's Witness, a Christian, whatever, Catholic, Jewish, you have your belief system, you're held to it. So it doesn't matter whether there's evidence or no evidence, you're already indoctrinated into that. Remember this. But I would definitely lie more in the position where experiential moments are really the true a remedy to what you're looking for. And so embodiment is second to none. Anyone that tells you to disavow your body, the idea that everything is as one, I would about face and run in the other direction. Anyone who has an absolute, the only absolute is your absolute. Anything else is a subjective to objective to no objective state where you are being bamboozled by someone telling you this is the only way.
Yeah. And I think that also comes down to your absolute should also adapt. Because if you're constantly in this transformation mode where you're experiencing new things and living that experiential life, then your absolute, it does change. It's never 100%. It always constantly moves. Like, for example, we have one student who is like, that is the most energy I have ever felt. And he's probably said that 1,000 times. And then the next week, he's like, I didn't think I could feel more energy than what I felt before. And then the next week, how am I feeling more energy than I felt before? Like, I was at my max. There's no possible way I could feel more. And then the next week, it's like this. It's this funny thing. And his absolute might be that he experiences energy, but the variation that transforms through his body as he opens up and as he develops himself, it constantly changes because that's his experience, where all of a sudden, you know, he was looking through the eye of a needle and now he's, you know, has a complete 360-degree view on things. That develops as you transform. That experiential, just as you get older and you go, hey, you know, maybe what I thought was cool to do in my 20s is no longer cool in my 30s, and I have different values, and now I appreciate this a little more, and I've experienced life in a sense that I've opened my view on X, Y, or Z. It's constantly evolving.
Amen to that. And so we're bringing you back to the attention of, are the aliens coming?
Mm-hmm.
Tune in. It's yet to be determined. But such a bastardized word, but very good at negating anything before that from a neuro-linguistic programming perspective. The truth be known, the proof is in the pudding. Show me. Oh, it's coming. The new age is coming. Everyone's awareness is coming. It's raising. Mm-hmm. Again, I would say that was the fundamental Pied Piper messaging of bodybuilding when I started it over 40 years ago as a young man. Guess what? Bodybuilders are the epicenter of everything. And the more and more I grew into a bodybuilder, the more and more I realized less people were committed to developing their physique, their strength, their integration of self as a bodybuilder. And still to this day, with how the phenomenon of bodybuilding and also social media fitness influences, mm-hmm. the percentage rate on the population is still in under 2 to 3% of the whole world. So
probably
when
less.
You think about it like that, it hasn't moved the needle. Mm-mm. And what we have now is a potential excessive exploration of things that are making you dumber. by integrating social media and exogenous stressors, i.e., mind-altering drugs that you, through your alchemical process, I teach people how to do themselves. So, this whole moving of the needle, alcohol is bad for you, nootropics are good for you, stimulation of the brain, stimulation of the pituitary gland, stimulation of alchemy within you is 100% I'm an advocate of, but you do it internally. So once the secret sauce is alchemized, you can now transfer that and manipulate it any way you want through the body, which then you can turn on hotspots, nodes of basically an autonomous process, and you become dominion, imperium, complete maestro over something that was perceived or being told to you as something that works independently of your mind. No, when intellect becomes a superpower is when conscious and unconscious are converged. This is where now you recognize the holy stream, the absolute, and your ability is, your intellect is on steroids. Your intuitive state is on steroids. Your ability to converge these things as one stream is uncontrolled, and any sort of limitators have been completely divested. They're completely destroyed. And so the problem with many of the things today is the dumbing down of society through social media, through drugs, is the very issue that we have here. They're not doing it to pursue more of themselves. They're doing it to remove more of themselves because they've been told that the body is a throwaway, that it's unnecessary for you to be enlightened, spiritually awoken by self. Just discard the body. And now, fundamentally, that's a Buddhist thing. For many of my monastic buddies that are Buddhist monks, they have a very similar outlook where they look at things as a distortion, dukkha. They're only looking to regulate the dukkha and observe. They're not looking to integrate. They don't want to tip the scales. The karmic model requires them to remove any input whatsoever. So this is a Buddhist model for many sects. Is it the absolute? No, you could find Buddhists that don't have the same belief system. Many of my friends that are walking monastic paths, they have that same integration. So for me, as a Taoist, we have a different version. Our Taoist foundation is to embody, to embrace, to expand longevity for the lifetime of this experience, this iteration, even greater and greater and greater, so that, you can live to 100, 200, 500, 1,000. It's not about discarding the body. It's about enriching the body so it can hold that resonance, so you can maintain it as long as you want.
Yeah. And I think it's very interesting because like you were mentioning, everything is let's give you the external to fix the internal. So you need you want to experience the DMT, here, take the mushrooms, take the external to experience the internal. And it's kind of funny when you think about it, if like your house was dirty or your room was dirty, the last thing you would do is like go outside and like paint the house a new shade of a color, or like fix the doors and add new shutters. It's like, no, if it's internal, why not use what you have internally to make that adjustment? Why are we so accustomed to this idea that the pill will be the answer, the medicine will be the answer, the alcohol will be the answer, the drugs will be the answer? That's what will fix what's inside here, instead of actually going in and doing it naturally and doing it with the alchemy and doing it with the energy. so that it has a permanent effect. Whereas you're constantly having to go, okay, that worked for an hour. I had a headache. I took an aspirin. Okay, now I have a headache again. Okay, I take another aspirin. Okay, now I have a headache again. Okay, now I take another aspirin. It's like, what? Well, how does that make sense? Why don't you remove the energy of the headache out, and you're not kind of masking it with this idea that, okay, if I take this pill, all of a sudden that's going to fix everything inside of me. And it goes for the same thing as simple as like, weight loss pills and things like that, where, oh, this is this easy fix. I don't actually want to change the food I'm eating, change my sleep habits, change my exercise patterns, change my environmental stressors. I just want to take a pill and then that'll fix it. And then I can just keep doing all the normal stuff that I'm doing that created it in the first place. And we get programmed to this thing. Oh, I don't feel whole. Guess what? The aliens are coming. I'm going to feel whole now. I'm going to feel accepted. I'm going to feel known. I'm going to feel a part of something again because this will give it to me. And it's like, goes back to the same old thing. We have it all within us, but this programming and this constant attack on the lack of your strength, the lack of your body, the lack of your embodiment, the lack of your gnosis of self is constantly being attacked. And this is a reminder that you have everything within you already. It's all here. Yet we constantly get convinced and bombarded that, oh, no, you need something external. If I take one more course, I'm going to be smarter. If I learn one more thing, that's going to make me a better person. If I buy this or absorb some external drug, then all of a sudden I'm going to find my enlightenment.
And that's why it really comes down to summarization, selectorizing, simplifying this very moment. What we're getting at, and we have been through the whole theme of this podcast, is to recognize that all thoughts of your mind are not yours.
100.
And so what is the biggest indicator to determine whether you're on your right path? That requires that desire, that spark of divinity that then imposes, or impulsive inquiry then turns into contemplation. Curiosity reverts back to a belief system. The more and more you put into the secret source, you will acquire a belief system that will be challenged and met with skepticism as the finite mind struggles to justify its existence. So the only thing that fortifies that belief system is experiential moments. That's where knowledge becomes a clear transfer of wisdom as you walk that path. That wisdom gives you everything that you need because it now speaks louder than the incessant finite mind. And you're able to, the feeling is key. And so the feeling is an embodiment.
Yep.
So we're suggesting that, guess what? Jesus is coming. The aliens are coming. The transformation of a new earth is here. We're suggesting that all of these are potential possibilities. And there are no limitations to the iteration of self. Yet, we must be very clear that the redundancy of repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome, is a more societal, normal course of action as you become more and more separated by yourself and not converging. You're dissecting, you're diverting. And this divergence is where things start to get a little sticky. So, in a summary, the aliens are coming if you say they are. Jesus is coming if you say he is. All of these things are potentiality and all iterations of yourself. Make sure that when you come to a point of life decisions, that you have, to some degree or not, experienced them so that your devotion and commitment to whatever it is that you believe in is shown to you.
Yes.
Not a indoctrinated mind prison that is just a virus that takes over you and you don't even realize you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Most people are afraid to be in a trance because that trance-like state suggests that they're not in control of themselves. Mm-hmm. Let's realize that everyone is hypnotized. Everyone is on a path of programmability that will not end until you say it does.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go on a mini rant.
Yeah.
As a mother of 6, I find it extremely hard. As you said, people are so afraid to be hypnotized, yet they're in this trance. When someone talks about abortion and yet they've never experienced having a child before, yet they're so adamant, oh, abortion, it's the most important thing. It's a woman's right. It's her body, all of these things. Even just motherhood in general, if you have never experienced that for yourself, having an absolute idea on it is always going to show you you are stuck in your finite mind. Because if you've never having an opinion on it, on something that you've never experienced, just shows you that you're part of the programming and you're part of the trance and you're part of the hypnosis and you are stuck in that upper level and it's never connecting all three of them together. And so when I hear, men, women, anyone who has never experienced any type of motherhood somehow say that, oh no, you should have an abortion. You should have the right for it. It should be able to be, X amount of weeks long and always be on the table for that person. That is one of those experiences where it's like, you have never experienced it, so you cannot have an opinion on it. You cannot have an opinion on, toxic masculinity if you're not a man. You cannot have an opinion on extreme femininity if you're not a woman. There's so many things that we just get this idea of and think we know. And I use these words very intentionally. This thinking, overthinking, that you cannot claim that you don't go, I think this person should have the ability for it. You claim it as an absolute, that no one should ever experience this, yet you're not coming at all from an experiential standpoint or point of view whatsoever. Sorry.
Amen to that. I mean, it's just another, recognize everything is an iteration of self.
It is.
If you come across a serial killer, a saint, an elephant, a tiger, the universe, the sun, the moon, soil, these are all variables of yourself returning to the same holy stream. Can you accept that? Can you dig it? Can you accept yourself when you look in the mirror? Because the first sign that you are not where you need to be to experience this convergence is the inability to accept thyself, inability to love thyself, inability to know thyself through this reflection. And so on that note, summarizing everything, these are all variables of the same potential, that is, you're abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. And you will find that through your integration. You will find that through your own path, your rite of passage, whether it's through Taoist alchemy, which we offer digital assets like way126.com, or just mentorship and training. There's the integration of the digital and also the ancient Taoist practices that make you an absolutely irrefutable version of Tao as we know it as whole. Heaven on earth, baby. These are all parts. Whether you're reading ancient text from Egypt or a version of the Bible or the Dharma, or you're reading the crossword puzzles of a newspaper, these are all versions of self.
Yeah.
And that's the part that the digestibility becomes problematic. Being able to accept everything as we put it, accept and allow everything as whole, is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
So,
and I really do think it comes down to everything that you've said so far is no thoughts of your mind are yours. And that's such a mind fuck to so many people who are so analytical. And it's like, okay, well, if no thoughts of my mind are mine, how do I know what is and what isn't? And we get back to the theme of this podcast is you feel it. You either feel it or you don't feel it. That is your truth teller, that all of us as a human being, as a human consciousness, as a human experience, have the tools to navigate. We just have to be remembered where they are, how to use them, what to do. And that's why this Taoist alchemy is so powerful to so many people, because they finally get that turned on and go, oh, now I see, I get it.
and that is where we bid you a farewell, my dear friends, my loved ones, as Jade and I transmit from you, Taoist Central. And furthermore, take this magical mystery ride for a brief moment as we converge right now, closing all senses, or one or two maybe, and start to breathe with us as we alchemize ourselves. And you feel that potential, that potency, that potent ability that is rising in the substance, the substantive state that you're in. We refer to that within any parapsychologist's vocabulary as psychokinetic. This is visceral, somatic, kinesthetic in its nature. This is the now moment for any Taoist as you completely converge with this present moment. So, with my cadence, follow my lead. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Again. Exhale. One more time. Exhale. One more time. Exhale. One more time. Exhale. Last time. Exhale. Hold. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let that amber of a cigarette affect. Let it pulsate. Let it reverberate. Let it oscillate. As this is your true nature, the vibratory effects are composed within the resonance that you are holding right now. And because of that attunement, that calibration, that barometer, your tuning fork, as I speak, the words start to dictate the vibratory effects. The pacing and leading of all of this is because you've alchemized, you have codified, you have unified the state as now, and the words now become absolutely magnetic, magnanimous. The power of one is now. Let the breath just slowly breathing in and breathing out. You feel that charge as you accumulate that energy through the body, as if you are an amber of a cigarette. This is the effect of the amber effect within the body. Oh yeah, baby. If you're distant, if you're close, stay with it. Let it actualize, alchemize you. Once it is done, it will be done. It will show itself to you, whether it's in the next 5 seconds or the next 5 minutes. Be with it. Believe with it. Know all about it this very now moment. I thank my divine delectable co-host Jade. I'm your humble servant and Sifu, San Qing, and I will see you on the next one.